this is Brian with Alpha Training, and this week's tip is about renaming your files more effectively. So here's the situation. I have a folder on my desktop called Pictures, and if I open this up, what I've done is I've taken a bunch of pictures with my digital camera, and I've dumped them into a folder on my desktop. And the names are just terrible. They don't mean anything to me. DSC0001, DSC0018, these don't mean anything to me. So what I want to be able to do is I want to go through here and I want to rename these files. Now there's a way that most people do it, and that would be by right-clicking on the file, choosing Rename, and then giving the file a new name. But to have to go to each file one at a time and say right-click Rename, and then go to the next file, right-click Rename. Plus, in this particular view, I don't even know what each picture is. Now, I can click on the picture one time and I can see this little thumbnail down here, but sometimes that's difficult to tell exactly what the picture is. Well, here are a couple options for you. One thing you could do is you could come up here to the More Options button, and you could increase the view from a details view to, say, a large icons view. That way you get little thumbnail pictures of each of the files, and that way you can tell which one is which. And then I could go to each one and I can say right-click Rename. Now, the only thing that I've really solved here is I've made it easier to know which files are of which picture. But I haven't really mitigated the whole right-click rename thing, and that's the real performance killer. Well, what I like to do is instead of having all of these thumbnails, because again, even though I can tell what's what in these pictures, some documents like scanned PDFs look so similar from one page to the next, I really cannot tell even when I'm looking at it in this thumbnail view. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put myself back in the details view where I just have the one long list of files, but I'm going to come up here in the upper right and choose the Show Preview pane. That will take the one file that I have selected and give me one really large preview. This is especially helpful when you've scanned in a bunch of pages of just written text and you can't tell what's what unless you look at it in almost a full screen preview. So now I can click one time on each of these files and I can see exactly what each one of these pictures is. So this is just giving me a better preview, but it's still not helping me with the whole renaming of the files. Here's where this week's trick comes in. A lot of people know that in Excel, if you want to edit the contents of a cell, you can hit the F2 key. Well, the F2 key also works when you're looking at files in Windows Explorer, where you can put yourself into rename mode. So I could put this one, Alpha Coal West Coal Digger. Now, if I have to go to the next file, click on it, hit F2, and put Headquarters, and then go to the next file, F2, this is still a lot of clicks. Well, here's where the trick comes in. I'm going to hit F2 on my first file, and I'm going to rename this. I'm going to call this one Dozer. I'm not going to hit my Enter key. Instead, I'm going to hit my Tab key, because what the Tab key will do is it will effectively commit the name that I've given that previous picture, automatically select the next file, and put you automatically in rename mode. So I can put Dozer 2, Tab, Train Cars, Tab, Blue Sky with Coal, Tab, Underground, Tab, and I can just keep tabbing Old HQ, Tab, and I can go through these very, very quickly. Foggy Day, Tab, until I just make my way through all of these files. So by going to your first file, hitting F2, putting yourself in rename mode, and then just hitting Tab each time, you can automatically switch to the next file and automatically put yourself in rename mode. So that's the tip of the week. F2 to start your rename, Tab to move through the files, and continue renaming one after the other. Have a great week.